I better focus on driving or I'll wreck this thing. Whoa. Hey, I'm gonna give you some of the behind the scenes of the hunt that I posted for my buck and show you kind of the setup that I used and where we're hunting and that sort of thing. It's not really going to be any tips or tricks. I feel like the property that we hunt, our farm, doesn't really obey a lot of the rules that you hear about, and you can get a lot of that professional advice and stuff on YouTube and online that we try to use, but again, I don't feel like it works to the T for what we're doing and for the property. So, but I'll give you some of the behind the scenes of some of our scouting and just what happened during that hunt and prior to it, and kind of an introduction to what we are. Real quick, I'll pull up my map app here real quick and show you where we hunt. It's kind of old school, but it's still fairly accurate and works well for what we do. So right there is where my stand is, and then just a little to the east is where Darron hunts, and so that gives you an idea, kind of the layout of where we are, and gives you an understanding of kind of the lay of the land there, where we're hunting, and we primarily hunt out of ladder stands because they're usually super cheap at the end of the season at Walmart or Orscheln's or some of those stores. So we usually buy up a few, and Darron and I are both hunters in our family, and this is Darron. And if you want to know more about him, follow him on his page. This year, as I stated in the actual hunt video, was the first year that I'd taken a camera to the stands to film a hunt. When I was starting out hunting or interested in hunting, Darron was already... Hang on, I gotta go put the muffins in the oven. I'll be right back. Okay. I don't remember what I was saying. As far as filming a hunt, when I was younger, Darron was already out in the woods hunting with bows and guns and that sort of thing, and I wanted to join him, but I guess really wasn't interested at that point at harvesting an animal. And we were growing up at the time when hunting shows were really popular. We'd look at the DVDs and that sort of thing, and so I thought it was really cool to film. So at that point, I bought a little 8mm camera, and I was probably 6th grade or something like that, 11, 12 years old, and bought that camera, and that was my first experience. Hopefully I can go back and find some of that footage at some point. But that was my first experience filming from a tree stand, and it was a blast because basically every time you go out, you get something on tape, and you get to take that home and share it, and it's a successful hunt no matter what. So that was really what got me interested. And then as I got more interested in actually harvesting an animal, I put the camera down because I couldn't handle both things, and at that point I didn't have a lot of... Now there's a lot of advice on how to successfully do that, and I didn't have that at the time. So dropped the camera and hunted for a number of years, and then this year, knowing that I had a full week ahead of me and we're going to try to sit all day long to get on some deer, I thought, man, it'd be fun to get... And we have better cameras nowadays than we did back then, so cheaper and higher quality. So that's what I went with, did a little research, and I picked up this little guy. It's a Canon Vixia HF-R 800, shoots in 1080p, and the thing that I liked about it a lot is it has good optical zoom. You can't read that, but so picked that up actually the Friday before we went hunting, and kind of roughly set it up so that I could take it out to the stand. Darron built this. He already had this little wing ding on the top Took a 1/4 inch bolt, stuck it through the bottom of just this little handy Craftsman woodworking clamp, and that'll clamp right onto the tree stand. The only disadvantage, and you can tell from some of our footage, that little guy, he is either tight or completely loose. So we'll fine tune that. We'll figure that out. But that's the camera clamp for the tree stand, and you can put it on a branch, and it worked really well. So I shot with that camera, the phone, which is a Samsung S7, Galaxy S7, kind of old school by now, but it actually works really well. And actually, for a lot of the video, it actually works really well. And then I also have, I didn't have it set out here, but a little action camera thing. I don't remember the brand, but it's kind of an off-brand GoPro, but it actually works really well as well. So that's what my setup is. So let's look at some of this behind the scenes stuff, some of the extra footage. Well, I'm up here in my little perch, the crow's nest. Got a ladder up in here in the barn, and it's working pretty good. We've got some does down here across the creek, and a little buck came across that hilltop just a second ago, and out on that hill had a couple young bucks move across there. You can really catch them in this evening sunlight. So better be on my toes. They're really moving good tonight. Trying to catch where these guys are moving in to these fields. So here in a couple weeks we can set up in between. In addition to doing some road scouting in the evenings and the scouting from the barn top, we run about 7 Bushnell trail cameras. We get those at the end of the season at discount as well, but they really work well, and we actually run them all year long, but we only check them first time about June or July when velvet racks start to show what they have potential of being, and then we'll check again in August, September, and then as season gets nearer, we'll check every couple weeks, and then on our way in and out of stands during season. And we try to mimic regular farm activity. Dad's actively farming in his retirement, and so it's common for vehicles to be out in the pasture checking cattle and that sort of thing. So we'll try to access cameras just by driving up to them. On the last camera of the afternoon, it's October 31st, and it's pretty warm today with a southwest wind, which is perfect for checking all of our cameras really, because we have to enter from the north. And so I bumped a few does on the west end, and I worked my way to the east end, trying to drive into most of these spots. So it just seems like regular activity. But the good thing is, on all of our cameras we have pictures, quite a few pictures really, in the last 2 weeks. And it seems like pre-rut or rut's kind of kicked off here this week. So hopefully we'll get a good chance to see what might be working around out here. And we got 1 week until we stand, so I think things are going to cool off toward the end of next week. So that'll be perfect. So I'll slip down in here and get one more camera card and run back and check them out. Hopefully we're in luck. Even though we run a number of trail cameras throughout the year, it's actually rare for us to take a buck that we've had pictures of throughout the year. It's often the case that we'll have pictures just the morning of or a few days prior to the day we harvest. In fact, after the fact, checking a trail camera in the area that I had my stand, the only pictures of the buck that I harvested were captured minutes prior to me taking a shot at him. We got all of our cameras checked. The only problem I had was the cell cam, our Tacticam, had run out of battery. It said 100% through the app, but it wasn't taking pictures for 2 days, and that was a definite tip off because we'd been getting tons of pictures every morning and night from that camera. And unfortunately I didn't have any lithium batteries, which we feel like are probably the better option for that camera. Oops. But I had just regular alkaline batteries, so we tossed a dozen of those in there and it fired right up. So that seems to be the problem. I guess if they don't last very long, then next weekend when we get back out here, we'll switch them out with the lithium batteries. So I guess that's it for that. We'll go check these cards. We'll see on that cell cam what comes in tonight. I'll have an idea what's running around chasing. That's why those saws are nice. They're lightweight and reach for miles. Well, we got Darren's new stand situated, so hopefully that'll put him a little closer to the action. There's deer crossing, yikes, all over down in here, and we've always had that problem with them just not obeying the rules, the lay of the land. You would think they'd stick to the woods kind of midday, but they don't necessarily. They get down in here in this valley and they just crisscross all over. So good luck to him. Hopefully tonight we'll be doing another recovery, or in the morning. Either way works. We've got a couple more days, so that'll be all right. All right, I think you guys have seen and heard enough. We'll wrap this up real quick. I want to mention a few of our sponsors. Honey, do we have any sponsors? I don't think she's got the mail yet, but we probably just need to sign a few things and we'll be good. All right, if you want to scribble something in the comments section, maybe a nice cookie recipe, that'd be just fine. Thanks for watching. I tell you what, every time that oven timer went off while I was editing this, it got me.